was just going to ask you, like, how, because you left, you were from Superior.
Yeah.
And so you left to go to Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
Marquette. How was that for you?
Well, my wife and I were very close, and I missed her. I missed home, and I thought, well, I'm here in Marquette, and she's going to find somebody else.
So you had to scramble, huh?
Yeah, so
That's very similar to my nephew. I mean, it's the same story almost.
It sounded familiar to me. And I never told you, I always said, well, I did come back home, and I ended up breaking a wrist a year later, but I would tell them I come back.
I was just going to ask you that. So that's not true that you left Marquette because you broke your wrist?
No,
it was because of Carol?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I had to bring that out after she passed away. I can't live with this anymore. And how much she meant to me, even back then.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're good.
Exactly. Talk about Coach. I have so many questions for you. I just feel like even my years back in the 80s, do you have any favorite memories from a lot of times you hear coaches talk about, the players that win a state championship all talk about the night they won the state championship, but a lot of times coaches, they remember the practices or some particular moment in a regular season game. I mean, are there any particular memories that you have from, say, 87?
Well, 87, I think, that was an unusual year, too, because, there were talented coming in there and expected to do very well. But the work ethic, I guess, even though that you have a lot of success, sometimes it's easy not to perform up to your abilities.
Right.
But every practice, I enjoy practices, and your dad did it too. We enjoyed practices almost as much as games.
That's true.
And so that's what we come up on Saturdays. We didn't always practice. Sometimes we shoot around, but just to see everybody's okay, and then that way. But yeah, that was very evident that group had good work ethic, and that's makes your job that much easier. You don't have to go home and pound your head. What am I going to do to get
to reach these kids, or I mean, that's kind of my memory is of my senior year is, it probably helps big time for a coach when you have some pretty good leadership from your seniors, which I think you did, and kids that were committed to the team. I mean, I look back on when I was a player, I probably could have scored more points or taken more shots, but and I was like any other teenage kid. I wanted to score. You get attention, and there's nothing wrong with that. Plus, by me scoring, it helps the team to a degree. But way more importantly than that was winning. And guys like Tom Batta becoming such a good high school player, and Mike Shear emerging, Dan Nayrud, Chad Juergens. We needed everybody, to play well. And that was when you look back on your coaching days. Is that one of the more and if it's not, you don't have to say it. Is it one of the more special seasons, would you say?
I would say it is one of the things Jim and I were talking about earlier is that you guys are not only a team, you're friends.
Yeah.
And you did things together.
Right.
It used to bother me when I'd see a kid walk out of the gym and another kid walk out of the gym and they're separate. They go different ways.
Right.
When I'd go together and do some things together, but you guys were a group, away from the play here.
Right.
And the fact you're still doing it today.
We're still friends. Together. That's right.
And that's part of athletics or school or whatever it may be. You're involved in the paper, newspaper, band. You make some friends and you cement the relationship.
Right.
And that's what. And you're all working for a common goal too.
Right. I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, to me, the soul of high school sports, not just basketball, high school, it's winning or losing with your buddies from the neighborhood.
Yep.
Don't you agree with that?
Oh, yes, definitely. And we tried to do more over the years. Your dad and I would talk about that too, about what can we do to get, we had years that they were not, everybody didn't get along real good, but not that they didn't, but they didn't do any things together. And you had a couple of the guys that would go different ways and kind of bothered you a little bit because you'd like to see a more cohesive group. But.
Right. Well, they're still my closest friends. My high school from Tom Batta to Rob DeCourcy, Mike Shear, who lives in Hawaii now. Mm-hmm. He's still one of my closest friends. And yeah, I mean, I just think there's a bond that forms, from those young ages, when we were growing up. And then I'm a believer, and maybe not everybody sees it this way, that what we did was special, you know, and I look back on my career as a player. You know, I played high school hoops. I played Division I. I played 9 years of professional basketball. My senior year was the most special season that I was a part of because of great coaching, coaches that, and basketball wasn't everything. It wasn't like, you know, when you find a professional coach or a college coach, but you wanted to win, but it was all about the team and coming together and working together.
And all the things you've gone through together as a team.
Right.
You know, hard times, good times, and everything, but having success and then that breeding more success. I was talking to my history classes, and they probably say, remember when he talked to us about doing this or doing that? And I said, well, yeah, you're sophomores in high school, but at 2 o'clock, 2:20, you can run out of the school and you got a job at Kmart or something. Then you buy a car or something. And then you got 50 years to work. Get in the newspaper, the band, or in athletics or something. Get a group that you would report to. You come back to a class reunion, you got a group to talk to.
Right.
And show something in common. But
yeah, that's so you know, you look at some of these high school coaches nowadays, and I got to talk about this because I have a major issue with recruiting and coaches that it's all about winning, and the message that it sends. Some of these coaches will win a state championship, and they have kids from all over the place, and they've subtly recruited in some ways just to win, these coaches are employees of a particular school district or community, and they're getting kids from outside to come in, and it's not an even playing field. And I have no respect for coaches that do that, and I just want to know your opinion on coaches that do things like that.
well, I have no respect for him either because my philosophy is that if a kid, Cole Lodge, I think, put it very well when he said that he'd been recruited by some local communities, and he said that, why would I want to leave? This is where I grew up. These are my friends. And why would you want to do that? I mean, winning is nice in life. If you're a winner, you're gonna be a winner, you know,
Right,
and they'll find you, no matter where you are. But I never tried to recruit a kid to come to this school. I never will, and I think that's Jeff's philosophy also. And I had 3 or 4 years where we could have, when Cole's senior year, Jeff could have had this kid from Minneapolis West.
Yeah,
And he wanted to come here, and
he's a point guard.
Point guard.
Yeah.
He was captain at the U too.
Yeah, that's right.
But he met with the athletic director, the principal, and so forth. And the kid said, "I like Cole. I played with him. I want to come here. I know I'll have to sit out the first semester." And Jeff stopped him right there. He said, "Well, I'll tell you what." He said, "I don't care what you do, but you will not play here." Because we got kids that have come up through the program. It's their turn to play.
That's right.
And no matter, don't disrespect your playing ability, but I really felt good that he took that stand. And more people would have to know those kind of things rather than say, well, if you go and get a good kid, you can make a good team next year. Winning is fun. It's a lot of fun.
Right.
It's a big thing in life, but it's not the only thing in life. You got to live with yourself and the community.
Right. And that's how I see it, is you're an employee of the school or the school district or this community, and if you're bringing kids from all over the place just to win, I mean, you're hurting the community.
Well, sure, yeah. But, look, winning is such a big thing in life today.
Right.
Everything is win. And even at what cost, I guess that's what I'm saying. And I know Jeff has had some opportunities recently again, but he won't do it, and he'll be criticized for it. And
Right. Yeah, it's. I know Jeff has got a great quote. I think he's said it to me how, and this makes when I've heard this, it makes me think of you. How I'd rather lose with my own players than win with somebody else's. I mean that for sure. That's kind of how you saw it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, growing up as a kid, when you went and played some other team, wouldn't it be nice to have a guy like that on your team? But then AAU comes along, now you do.
Right.
And they go out and they recruit you. You got kids. I'm watching my grandson play for the last 6-7 years. You go to 7th grade games, you got coaches from all over watching these kids, and they're talking to them. They're sending them letters and various other things, trying to get them to come to the school.
Right. What about the summertime, these kids now, the coaches nowadays, the job. How would you have handled these summer workouts? And because back in those days, like when I was in high school, it was pretty much hands off. And I don't know if that was a high school league rule at the time. You couldn't work with your kids, but now it's like you can work out with your team and your kids. How would you have handled the responsibility of?
I think probably two things. Number one, I wanted them to enjoy. If they're a baseball player, play baseball.
Right.
Enjoy your summer. We get you for enough weeks during the course of the year where we work you hard and we want you to improve. And I don't think you have to dedicate yourself to being, and it certainly is proven that wrong, that, or right, rather, that the more dedication they have, the better player they're going to be, if they have the abilities to do it.
Right.
But I don't know if I would I want kids to enjoy their summers, and the summers off, and enjoy what they want to do.
Right.
They don't have to come in here and work out for a month, but if you don't do it, everybody else is going to do it. So I don't know, what do? You guys jump on the bandwagon.
Because I run my summer basketball camps, and I actually, and then at the last day, the parents come in and I have the campers sit down, and I almost always say to the parents and the campers that were there all week, that my high school, this is what I tell them, I said, my high school coach used to tell us that great players or championship players or teams are made in the summertime. So, and you put that in the yearbooks.
Yeah.
You put that, you always put so if we want to keep this program going and having success, the summertime is a great time to get better. And you believe in that?
Oh, sure I did, yeah. I didn't mean, not to the extent that they're doing it today, but it's
right.
Off-season stuff that you do. Everybody improves during the course of the season if they're an athlete, but what you do off-season, I think that's what helps you.
Right. How about your players playing other sports? Did you encourage that?
Well, your dad and I were in the same boat on that. If it was football season, you wanted to play football, you play football. If you wanted to play basketball, if you wanted to play baseball in the spring, do what you want. And I don't think you have to dedicate yourself to. I go back to, Jim and I were talking earlier, I go back to where a kid was the best kid over at Olson Junior High, and he's captain of 3 sports. And he came over here and a great kid. He's a lawyer now and the pillar of the community. But he just was way ahead of everybody else, talent-wise and everything. But then the rest of the kids started to catch up. And by the time he was a senior, he was a captain of 3 sports, and he was a captain of basketball, and everybody knew that there were 4 better players on the floor than he. So
Right.
I had to sit him down a little bit because everybody else knew. And it bothered me, it still bothers me today.
Oh, really?
Because just like when you cut some kids, you hate to cut them because they want to be part of a team.
Right.
But he was I think I still have a pretty good relationship with him because he's come to some of the games here.
Oh, really? Was that maybe the toughest part of being a coach in a program like this, was the time you'd have to go through tryouts and have cuts?
Yeah, and then when I first started coaching, it used to be very typical, like you put a list. If your name's not on your list, you're not on the team. And I thought, impersonal that is, and the kid comes out and he works real hard. But so your dad and I, we would, if we cut somebody, we'd take them into the locker room, into the equipment room there, and talk to them.
Right.
And just want them to air themselves out. And we'd also give them an opportunity. We also need a lot of help here, like management and stats, and be part of the team. And that's tough to see. You can't be part of a team. So that's tough. That's still tough. They're cutting today.
Yeah. So you used to see. That's what I remember. Is you used to make a list and hang it up the list in the locker room,
Yeah.
right? And so the kids would come in and they would know whether they were on the team or not. But you changed that though, huh?
We changed that to just a personal thing because, I hate to ever be on a list like that in my life, but
Right.
it might happen. And I stopped thinking, well, what would I feel if my name was on that list?
Right.
So,
Okay, we'll switch gears a little bit. I'm thinking about your partnership with my dad, Jake Lynch, and I know that you talked to him about becoming one of the coaches or joining the staff right after you guys won in '76, and was that kind of a calculated decision because you knew he had sons that were coming up and he could be involved?
There was nothing involved with the kids, but I knew he had his background.
Okay.
And he was enthusiastic. He was coaching football here, sophomore football.
Right.
And I see him every day in the classroom.
Taught with him, right.
And our philosophies were very much the same. So that was really a kind of a no-brainer and if he wanted to be part of it.
Right.
And he was ready to. So
yeah.
That was great.
Although he told me recently how had you said, hey, Jake, come and be the sophomore coach, which meant he would have to leave school after teaching, go home, and then come back at 5 or 6 o'clock, to get the gym space. He's like, I wasn't interested in that.
No.
But as far as working with the JV, so you're immediately after the school day is done, he's in the gym with.
Well, plus after school, I could tap his knowledge. We had a lot of things that we did here over the years that we agreed on, and we tried some things that he had tried, I had tried, and we worked them out. A lot of different things against zones or whatever. Something.
So you guys did a lot of that, kind of bouncing things off each other.
Oh, sure, definitely. They were all my decisions. They were both of our decisions.
See, that's one of the things that I think I respect so much about you is the fact that a lot of coaches who have a lot of success like you did, especially in the 70s and 80s, state championships, and we were really the dominant basketball program in the state of Minnesota. You look at the run that we had. But many times the coach kind of has a big ego and as a controlling person doesn't want to listen to other ways of thinking. But I was always so impressed when you would be talking to us, at least when I was here playing, you would almost always say, you would say and address whatever message you're trying to get across to us as players, and then you'd always say, well, Jake, do you have something that, you always valued, and you would always let him and give him a chance to say something as well.
Well, it was that way. It wasn't just me. It was together. We really hired as coaches, and I expect him to contribute like I would. And he'd come ready to. And many nights after a week of teaching and you're tired, you had a game, let's go scouting. I didn't feel like going scouting. He'd call me, let's go, we got to get going. So he would many times push me and I pushed him too, but I always willing to do the extra.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, he would always, I know he would say that to me even, where, it was, and you let him coach, and that was important to him.
Yeah.
And like even with his JV kids, you would give him some room to kind of make decisions.
Well, yeah, I admired his input anytime we could. And we did, a lot of things we did were together. It wasn't one decision or another. But
yeah, it's, well, and you guys retiring together, how about that? How did that all
well,
work
I don't
out?
know. I still didn't get the rule in the 90 because I had 7 years in Wisconsin that didn't count.
Oh,
but then they came right down to insurance was paid like for about 5 years, I guess.
yeah.
And in fact, I ended up paying about $1.19 a month for 5 years. And
for insurance, you're saying
Yeah.
$1.19 a month?
I think it was,
for
yeah.
insurance. Hey, can I get that? That deal? That sounds good to me.
but and then we had talked about it, but I could go a year and a half more, then I'd get the rule of 90. Then we got this insurance break where everybody, and I enjoyed teaching, and we both did it right till the last day. We resigned and walked out of the school, and hey, I enjoyed today. We had guys in our department grumbling every day and calling up and when can I get out of this and all that, but so we enjoyed kids, I guess.
In fact, I've heard your son say to me, he said that you had said to him at some point back when you were teaching and coaching here that that you maybe initially got into this profession to be a coach, and teaching was kind of the second reason you got into this life. But at Jefferson here, even though you're having all this success with basketball and coaching this program, it almost flip-flopped. You almost enjoyed, Jeff told me this, that you enjoyed the classroom
Yep.
more than even the coaching, even though you're running one of the top programs.
Yeah.